And here we go.
Okay.
Just wait for it to disappear. And hello! Welcome to another episode of Torn Book Club. I am your host, Sarumann, aka Josh, as always. And with me this week is Kristi Fojtik, who is a all-fellow Torn staff member. She's also... You're the founder and president of Tolkien Forever.
Yeah, I just say founder. Yeah, I don't really have a president.
Okay.
They call me the fearless leader.
Yes, the fearless leader. So you're the founder of Tolkien Forever, which is it's the local LA chapter of the Tolkien Society.
Yeah, well, the Tolkien Society. It actually started out on the Decipher fan club group. Remember that a million years ago?
Oh yes.
We tried to create local chapters of that, and I stepped up right away and said, I want to create a Los Angeles based fan club group so I can meet other people who love the movies as much as I do.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of grew from there, and we did get invited to join the Tolkien Society, which is a great honor.
That's awesome. Yeah.
As a small smile, I can never say that right, and that's
it's
a shame.
Smeal or something
Smeal,
like.
okay.
I have no idea.
It's a shame that I don't know how to say that.
I just don't know why they don't call it a chapter like every other. Group.
Isn't it something from the books?
It probably is. It probably is.
I'm embarrassed that I don't know that too. Oh, someone on my list can tell me all about it. I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, somebody else there probably knows. Absolutely. Can you maybe scooch over a little bit? You're kind of getting blocked by the chat windows. There we go.
Okay.
There. Now you're in frame.
Now you get to see me. I didn't get enough sleep last night. I was at Labyrinth.
Yes, the Labyrinth of Jareth, which I still have never been to.
Oh, it's great fun, and the costumes are phenomenal. So I recommend it to anybody.
That's why I haven't gone, because I'm so intimidated by the costuming, because I'm not a costumer.
Last night I wore a tux.
Okay.
So, anything goes. And you get to, and you know what was great about a tux? Because if girls, you know this, the guys probably don't because they're spoiled. But, this tux had 6 pockets. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have to carry anything.
Yeah, we guys have got it pretty good with the pockets.
Like where I'm working on a dress for the Masquerade Comic-Con. Mm-hmm. And it's Sansa, of course, she doesn't have any pockets. So
of course.
I took
Sansa Stark from Game of Thrones, in case anybody is wondering.
Yeah, so what am I going to carry my phone around in? And, because it can't be too far away. Oh, here it is. So actually I've taken a dire wolf and taken some stuffing out of it and made it into a purse so I can carry it around on the floor in my costume. A dire wolf purse, because we don't have pockets. But the thing about Labyrinth of Jareth, you could wear anything, and just anything goes. I think it probably started out more just about the movie Labyrinth, but now it's just the most phenomenal costumes I've ever seen.
Yeah, and I've been meaning to go every year because, you and so many other of my friends go every year. I've got a bunch of friends who are in the stage performances that they do, and I sort of feel like I'm letting them down by not going. I need to go this year.
Yeah, well, it's over this year. You'll have to go next year.
Yeah, that's what I meant, next year.
It's always the first hot weekend of the year, it seems, too, because it was hot. I did get a little overheated.
So we got a whole bunch of people in the chat, and we got we got our regulars. We got Temple, Ava, Jan, I Stole the One Ring, and it looks like we got some new folks. Love LOTR, Simply Smaug, welcome. So for the people who are here for the first time, this is Torn Book Club. So we discuss books and various things attached to them. That's the best way to put it.
So anything goes, all right.
Yeah, it's fairly anything goes. We try to keep it a little book focused. It is a book club, and we have a book of the month every month. And since this is the first episode of July, we have a new book of the month. And I will show you what that is right now. I will start by saying I've started implementing themes to every month. And so with July being the height of convention season, with Comic-Con happening at the end, we're doing Geek Culture this month. And
best culture there is.
The best culture there is, absolutely. And so our book is in line with Geek Culture, and it is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, which I just finished reading a couple weeks ago, and it is phenomenal. It is such a great book. I could not put it down. Well, I couldn't stop listening. I was listening to the audiobook. The audiobook is done by Will Wheaton, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I just started listening to this myself. I'm nowhere near the end. I think I'm just through chapter 1, but it is fabulous, and what a great book.
The first chapter is just like got some great descriptions of just the world that they're in, and like it really just draws you in.
Yeah, and don't be frightened by the 80s content, you people of my generation. You won't notice it. It'll be awesome.
It's 80s geek culture, which, like, aside from all the other stuff from the 80s that I wish we could all just forget, geek stuff in the 80s was fantastic.
Video games, it's fantastic.
And so Temple is saying, just to note, I found this month's book in the fiction section of Barnes & Noble rather than the science fiction and fantasy section. That's interesting, because it's most definitely sci-fi. Like, it takes place in a somewhat dystopian future. It takes... What is it? It takes place in an alternate computerized world that is extremely sci-fi.
I mean, it pulls a lot of our references, but it definitely is a fictional tale.
Yeah. Let's see. And we got another new person, Luana Greenleaf. Hello. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it looks like we got some people on the Justin TV chat. We got a pretty big audience.
Because everybody loves geek culture.
Dude 122 and Jan. And Jan has been absent the last couple of weeks, and he and I have a long-standing debate over Batman.
Oh.
And so it's become a running gag in the show that Jan has to make some joke about Batman, and I have to get offended by it. So.
I'm gonna stay out of Batman.
No, we're not gonna get into that. Let's see. Off topic, Ava and all the others who haven't seen Batman. We should do a live watching chat thing someday. You know what? That would be fun. And
which Batman?
Well, the one we talk about is The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, okay.
The latest one. Which I rewatched not too long ago, and so Jan, at some point, we're gonna have to have a live debate about this. I Stole the One Ring was asking what this month's book is. Let me bring it up again just so that it's there. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. You can pick it up at any bookstore and on Audible, and I highly recommend the audiobook. It's a pleasure. It's a totally enjoyable listen.
It is. It's making my commute so much better.
Okay. So we're talking geek culture, and we're talking particularly this week about Tolkien Fandom.
Again, the best fandom there is.
Like, I figure we all have a little something we can contribute to this conversation.
Yeah.
And all these images here are from our Baggins picnic, which we hold every September in Griffith Park, and this one is from, I think, 2 years ago.
Well, the thing about Tolkien Fandom that I find so interesting, and we were talking beforehand, I am doing a lecture in a couple of weeks about the similarities between Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, but you could do that with almost any fandom, because I feel like Tolkien has influenced so many other fandoms, and you can find, his fingerprints on almost anything, and it's really fascinating.
Yeah, like Tolkien's influence is just everywhere, and... Yeah, Temple's saying, nah, nobody knows about Tolkien Fandom here.
Well, I'll be the first to admit, I, of course, saw that wonderful film, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, in 2001, and I had not read the books before that.
Okay.
I'm book shamed.
We all come to it from different paths. So.
But when I did see the movie, I was in tears because I saw the Hobbit holes and stuff, and I was like, oh, it looks exactly like I thought it would be. And again, I didn't read the books, so you know where I was pulling that from? D&D.
Oh, interesting.
And the halfling holes and how they were described. So, I mean, even that was influenced by Tolkien.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I was just crying.
I think Gary Gygax would have been the first to admit D&D has strong roots in Tolkien.
Mm-hmm. And then I just, couldn't stop thinking about it and joined the Cypher fan club and then started TF and kept checking Torn obsessively. And, and then here we are. It's 13 years later. yeah,
it's kind of a crazy road.
Yeah.
My experience with Tolkien Fandom is quite a bit earlier than that. I first read Lord of the Rings in early mid 90s when I was 16 years old. And I was swept away by the books. Okay, I should say first of all, it took me about 5 tries to get through Fellowship.
I understand.
Just because, and I don't mean this as a slight to Tolkien, but the first half of Fellowship was really hard to, really get into because it goes off on so many tangents, and for several chapters, the story just stops completely and goes off in this totally different direction.
He's describing the world to you, which is great. He describes this world you want to go live in and visit. But I do understand. I read The Hobbit first, and I read that in a day. And then you pick up Lord of the Rings, it's like hitting a wall. And then you pick up the Silmarillion, and that wall falls on you. I
and also, as a teenager, it's hard. It was very hard to just sort of get your head around everything that was being thrown at you in Lord of the Rings. But then when I finally did get past that hump and got into it, I sped through the rest of the series like you wouldn't believe. I was so into it.
I think what I tell everybody who has trouble with all the descriptions and stuff, just get to Bree, and once you get to Bree, you'll be fine. I like the beginning of the book. I think it's beautiful because he's setting up the world. He's describing things for you, describing whole new races that you have never met.
And that I didn't have a problem with. It was the Old Forest and Tom Bombadil that lost me. Yeah, I'm one of those guys.
I'm fine. I'm fine with him being out of the movies too. God, war.
Yeah. We're gonna get letters.
And it could be. I mean, like I said, I don't know what my opinion would have been if I had read that book first and then saw the movie. Would I have been upset?
Honestly, I was not.
You were not?
I was completely blown away by the movie when I first saw it. And because, I had really gotten into it. I read the books and immediately, went out and got everything I could find on screenwriting and started writing my own Lord of the Rings screenplay, which was terrible. It was a god-awful screenplay because... there was very little that was omitted from the books this, so everybody is speaking in monologues. Everybody takes forever to get anywhere. It was slow. It was ponderous. It was not good.
Wow.
But I mean, from that point on, I was like, I want a Lord of the Rings movie. I want to see a Lord of the Rings movie, because at that point we just had the Ralph Bakshi movie, which is good. But you have to be in the right mood for it.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people who is pretty okay with the Bakshi movie. I know there are people who either love it or hate it.
I'm very indifferent about it.
Yeah, I know.
It is what it is.
Yeah, so everybody is sort of going over all of their favorite moments from Fellowship right now, which is really cool.
Oh, yeah, it took me I didn't even see Fellowship until after Christmas that year.
Oh, I saw it opening night.
Yeah, because I didn't know what I was stepping into. I mean, that was I don't know if everybody probably does remember, but when the movies came out, there wasn't a lot of merchandise or anything like that. And I remember going to Burger King and getting that Frodo light up cup.
I've actually still got a couple of those down in my garage.
I got just Frodo, and I was like, oh, this is all I need. I really like the movie, but I just need this. And by the time I left, I was at home. I was in Houston at the time. by the time I was flying back to California, I was trying to find all of them. I was already obsessed. It took less than a week. And then I came back and I had gotten some money for Christmas, and then I used that to join the fan club, and it just spiraled out of control. I got one of those little rings from the bookmarks on eBay for like $10, which is totally ripped off. But
I remember those.
Had to have that. I wore that constantly. And now, of course, my collection is out of control. Don't have even room in my house.
Yeah. I've always been okay with the collecting, but I really got obsessed with like the idea of a Lord of the Rings movie when I first read the books, like so much so that I tried writing my own. And of course, this was also at a time when the internet was just kind of getting started. And
oh God, so old.
And like you had to be a nerd to like even navigate its waters. And so like I was on all of the old bulletin boards, like Rec Arts Books Tolkien, for those who remember that one.
I don't remember that.
That's old Usenet days, when you had to sign in with like a Unix computer and the old 300 baud modem, and was chatting with people there about like what would happen if they ever did make a Lord of the Rings movie. And like we would do like dream casting. And
did they talk about how they just thought it would be impossible? Because that's what I always hear.
There were tons of people saying it'll never happen. There's no way it could possibly happen.
Yeah.
And then of course they announced it, I think in like 98, 99, and that's when Torn got started. And I was still living in Philadelphia. I had just graduated college. And I joined Torn out here when the movies came out. But it was interesting, like sort of seeing the evolution of the fandom over those years, because like before the movies, like Lord of the Rings and Tolkien sort of felt like you had this like special access to a secret society. Like before the internet, like it was just me and like a couple of my friends who had read the books and were like really into it and kept talking about it. And then like when the internet happened and I could like talk to people online about it, and it was like, oh my God, these are strangers from all across the world and they're into it as much as I am. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, and it really did like bring everybody together.
I mean, the reason TF exists is because I went to the first Torn Oscar party, the big surprise one, which is still my favorite. We didn't expect anybody to be there.
That was such an amazing night, because nobody expected everybody from the movie to show up.
Yeah, and Richard Taylor was basically standing in my lap because we were so close when they were talking in the front, and I got to hold an Oscar. That's why when people would ask me about that weekend, I was like, I held an Oscar. I was like, that's how my weekend was.
Yep. Yeah, me too.
TF grew out of that because I was talking to a lot of people on the boards, and actually Nicole was one of them, who's now my friend I've had for a long time. And everybody probably knows Nicole.
Nicole is Rasputin, the evil Balrog.
Yes, also a Torn staff member now.
Yes.
And, I met all these people, and they were from out of town, and then after the party was over, everybody went home.
Yeah.
And I was still stuck here, and I was like, but where are the people who are here who love these movies and books and everything as much as I do? I want to connect with them. I want to go see this movie every weekend, and I want people to go with me. And I want people to be able to post and tell me about happy, fun events that are coming up, because it's hard because the internet is now huge and it's hard to keep track of everything that's going on.
It is.
So we started Tolkien Forever Fellowship. We just call it TF. So if I ever say TF, I'm talking about our little group for LA. But
it's not that little anymore.
It's not. We're almost because now we're on Facebook, and we have people from all over the world. And someone just posted a great question today saying, "Hey, where's everybody from?" And I was like, "Oh my God, what a great question!"
Oh no!
So it's been coming up from everywhere. I was like, "Oh wow!" So it's gotten bigger, but that wasn't my original intent. It was just to get together with local fans and go see movies and go to events, and we always go to the Baggins picnic.
Right.
We always done that. We always have our Hall of Fire.
You have your Hall of Fire. You do a Tolkien reading day.
We do.
And there's some other events you do.
We do like a games party usually.
Right, yeah.
We used to go, more, we don't do it quite as much anymore, but like we used to try to do Ren Fair days where we all would go in our Lord of the Rings costumes and go to Ren Fair. And Labyrinth is another thing that grew out of basically TF. I have a great picture of all of us in our TF costumes at Labyrinth from one year, which is really great.
Oh, that's
so,
cool.
I mean, all these little, in conventions and stuff like that, it just all grew from Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually just started it to meet other people, and Carol Crittenden. Who,
Yeah.
I don't know. She's quieter, but she's the best.
She's amazing. I love her so much.
Yeah, she was my first member, and for a while it was just me and her.
She is so gung ho about the just the whole experience.
Yeah.
Like she really loves that group.
Yeah, and she would give the shirt off her back if someone needed it. She's one of the most kind people I know.
Like I still remember one of the first fan events that I organized, the Hollywood Bowl outing.
Oh, the Bowl Moot?
The Bowl Moot, yeah. When it was when Howard Shore was first premiering the Lord of the Rings Symphony at the Hollywood Bowl. This was just after Fellowship, so it was just that first part of it. It wasn't the whole thing. But it was the big world premiere, and it was like the weekend after Comic-Con. So everybody who was in town for Comic-Con just said, you know what, I'll just stick around for a week and go to this. And Carol came to the Moot, and she had handmade all of these autograph books with all of her drawings in them to give to everybody to just like have people like sign them, so you had like a memento of the experience. And I still have mine. It was the most amazing thing.
Yeah, the art, she's a very talented artist. In addition to being a vet and a mother of 3 and very active in her church. I mean, I call her Superwoman, and we also call her Master of the Precious because she can find anything you're looking for.
Yeah.
If you're like, I need this rare Frodo Baggins invisibility thing, she can find it.
Yeah.
She'll find it in a trade show or something.
Yeah.
My collection, partly credited to Carol.
Yeah. So everybody in the chat is talking amongst themselves, and I'm sorry we're not interacting with you more. We don't mean to ignore you.
I'm just trying not to bore you.
And Aravandi is here. Yay! Hello, Aravandi. Suzanne is asking, Yvette, could you clarify with Carol?
Carol is, she actually has her own vet office. I'll give her a plug because she's so great. She runs the Temple City Animal Hospital in, it's Pasadena, Temple City area over there. She's great. I mean, I take my cats to her all the time. And yeah, she's been a vet, oh God, forever.
Oh, okay.
That's her day job. Her alternate persona is Master of the Precious.
Yes. She's such a sweetheart. And I don't think I went to Hall of Fire this year, which I was kind of bummed about.
Yeah, we're going to do it again this year in the middle of October. I think, I'm not sure, I'm going to say this, we might take a break next year.
Okay.
It's a
big to do.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the things, like, I wish I had pictures of it to show all of you. But the Hall of Fire that TF does every year is this fantastic event that's done at Dr. Carol's home in her backyard.
She has a huge backyard. Marcy actually described Carol's backyard like this. It's so big that you don't notice there's a big pool in it.
Yeah.
When you walk back there, you're like, oh, there's a big pool up here on this multiple level yard. And Carol is gracious enough to let us come in. We put up pavilions and light everything with Christmas lights.
It's all these amazing decorations. There's all these different pavilions for all the different kingdoms of Middle-earth. There's one for Rohan. There's one for the Shire. There's one for the Eastern lands that Nicole does that's got all the booze.
Yeah, we have to, because it's an all ages thing, we try to keep the booze in it's the Flaming Moomog Tavern.
Yes.
So we try to keep that up there, but people bring food. We used to do it more like a potluck where everybody would bring like actual food, but because people arrive so sporadically, I realize that isn't working. Yeah. So we do more party food now.
Okay.
It generally starts when the sun goes down, so it's usually 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And because it's a nighttime garden party. You wear your costumes, come and share the love of Tolkien with a bunch of people in a backyard.
There's also there's performances, there's readings, and...
Yeah, because we have Rhonda who plays the harp.
Yep.
usually have Singing Gandalf will usually come and sing his lovely songs.
And actually, Singing Gandalf is in this is in our little picture montage here. Okay. That's the Gandalf on the right there. And he's awesome. And I only ever see him at our events.
Yeah.
But
he generally comes out, and even we have Primmy and Catherine, who both play the flute. Primmy will actually play the ukulele even.
Oh wow.
And Marcy's taking up guitar. We have lots of talented artists, and like some of them haven't come in years, but we used to, you could bring your artwork if you want to show your artwork. We've had people read poems. We've had, of course, music. Anything like Tolkien inspired, or if you actually just want to read a passage from Tolkien, we could work that in at the Hall of Fire as well. And people bring games and play, because we generally make up a big Hobbiton area where we serve the food, and there's a bunch of tables. So sometimes people bring games to play, Lord of the Rings games, or even not. We're pretty open with anything at this point. It's hard. It's hard to keep a fandom going when you're not being fed anything, which is what our middle years were between the end of Lord of the Rings and the beginning of The Hobbit. We weren't getting a lot, but we've managed. I'm very proud of this, that we've managed to keep things going. Like
with you with the Hall of Fire, and with us with the Baggins Picnic, which we have done every year since Fellowship, even in the intervening years between Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
And it's hard when people don't get that, like, they're going to get to go meet Figo or whatever. It's hard to keep it going, but we have a great time.
And what it really comes down to is we just have a really great community. And we have people who are into it, like, whether or not it's in the zeitgeist at the moment.
Well, like the Tolkien fandom in general is so different than I think. I'm in a lot of fandoms. Because me too. I'm a big geek, and we could go on forever, all this stuff I'm into. But there's so much more, I'm just going to say, heart to it. And I don't know if I want to say it's because it's book-based, but I don't think that's just it. I don't know.
No,
there's something
there's
very
more to
genuine
it.
to it.
I sort of feel like, and this goes all the way back to like the fandoms of the 60s. Like there's a very strong sense of community amongst Tolkien fans, and I think it like I would say it really does go back to like how the Tolkien Society was just gathering fans, and there was a very strong sense of community among them, and that's something that's always stuck throughout Tolkien fandom. Like I'm always blown away by, oh my god, what is going on in the chat? Everybody is talking about Gandalf singing like horrible pop songs.
Hey, he sings some Beatles songs, and I like them.
That's true. He does. He does some great Beatles covers.
Don't attack my Gandalf.
But no, let's not have him singing any Justin Bieber, One Direction, or Miley Cyrus. No. But what was I talking about?
The community.
Just like
we'll get back on track.
Yeah,
throwing us off.
I know. The community has always been very strong, and it's always people just like very welcoming of each other. Like, I mean, you get a couple people now and then who are like, well, if you haven't read the books, then you can't be a part of this club. But you know what? They're very few and far between.
They really are.
Like, and I think you'll find those in just about any fandom, like the elitists.
Yeah. Well, see, like I can't be elitist because I didn't even read the book before the movie again. But so we welcome everything. And even right now, because they won't even give us a trailer. Okay.
We're getting a teaser trailer like sometime in the near future, but we're not getting the trailer until October.
But so to find things to post on TF, I mean, I've been posting Guardians of the Galaxy because Lee Pace is in that, Halt and Catch Fire because Lee Pace is in that. I think I put up there's been some stuff put up about the Crucible because Richard Armitage is doing that, and just we try to keep news going. And then the TF page, I just throw art up there because
which is always nice to see. And I'll put a link to the TF page on the Torn Book Club page so that those of you who aren't familiar with TF can go there, maybe join. Just saying.
If you just want to see alternate news, well, actually, it's probably not even alternate. I think we share a lot because I know I share a lot of Torn stuff on there. Oh, that's gonna go.
Yep. And okay, Jan is making a good point that the first Desolation of Smaug trailer was considered a teaser as well, and that was kind of awesome.
It was. Oh,
so,
small.
Yeah, I really can't fault him for that. So who knows what we'll see in.
I just felt like we had it earlier last year.
We did, and Peter Jackson has said that they've run into a lot of setbacks with just creating the final battle, the Battle of the Five Armies. But it's what was I going to say?
No, our trailers.
Yeah, so the trailer, it may focus on other things, which, is fine, because we still have, Bard versus Smaug.
Yes. Oh, speaking of Smaug, there's a new season of Sherlock has been announced.
Oh, yes. Oh, I know.
Since this is all just geekdom, I'll just keep throwing things out.
We were talking about Sherlock last week. Last week was our Sherlock Holmes episode. And so, next... we're getting a new season of Sherlock and a Christmas special. So instead of just 3 episodes, we're getting 4. Oh my God, they're spoiling us. And Suzanne in the chat is talking about all of her buttons and her button cape. And I should point out, let me bring this up. This was a cool button that she made for our Game of Thrones my Game of Thrones party, which is a great Lord of the Rings Game of Thrones crossover. It is Frodo, son of Drogo.
Fun. I have several Suzanne's buttons. They're fabulous. They are.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Suzanne always makes the best buttons. Which is why we love her.
And of course, the cross genre ones or the cross fandom ones always a big hit. Our torn shirt, which I almost wore today, but I didn't. With Sauron sitting on the Iron Throne, always get just immense attention, and people love it.
I love that one. I've still got mine because we had to discontinue it for copyright reasons.
No. Yeah. Oh, finally they.
Yeah, we got cracked down on.
I thought that one was okay.
We got away with a lot for a long time, so kind of figured.
Yeah.
But
I mean, even that, I wore my Ever Wonder How to Con a Dragon or WonderCon shirt the other day to work. I just wore a t-shirt, and I mean, so many people commented on it. I was shocked, and I was like, "This is a great concept," and that we do own completely. So that it just people love this fandom, and
and what I love also is the t-shirts that we're doing now that Nancy is putting together for our con specific shirts.
Yeah, that's what the WonderCon one is.
Yeah, the one Ever Wonder How to Con a Dragon. That thing sold so well, and she did another one for a Fantasy Con, which was this past weekend, which unfortunately I don't think either of us were able to go to.
No.
But it looked like a great time.
Yeah.
I'm kind of bummed I missed it. But, I can only afford one convention this month, and it's got to be Comic-Con.
Comic-Con.
Well, this year is my last hurrah at Comic-Con, so I want to try to make it count.
Yeah, it might be mine, too. I recommend Comic-Con to everybody. You have to experience it at least once, and I'm just gonna sound like an old fuddy-duddy because I've been going for too many years.
Yeah, I've been going for over a decade now.
Yeah, it's gotten really crowded, and I last year I got really worn out, but I'm hoping to have more stamina this year.
Yeah.
But to me, I couldn't get into any of the panels I wanted to. I waited in line for 8 hours.
I gave up on panels years ago.
Yeah, I waited in line for 8 hours last year to get into the Game of Thrones panel, and I didn't make it.
Yeah.
I was close. If I'd been in line at 7 a.m. instead of 8, I might have gotten in. But, it was kind of disheartening. I got into one panel I wanted to get into, and that was the Starship Smackdown.
Oh,
on Sunday, which is a great panel. If you do go, please go to that one.
It's run by one of the producers on the Star Trek TNG Blu-rays,
Really?
Robert Meyer Burnett.
Awesome.
He produces all the new documentaries for it, and they're fantastic. And he is such a huge Star Trek geek, and just geek in general.
Yeah.
And so it's cool seeing him in his element, and
it was lots of fun.
I think 2 years ago, or maybe 2 or 3 years ago, Neil deGrasse Tyson crashed it.
Yeah, I think that was not last year, but the year before.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of how I heard about the panel, because I didn't know about it, but I saw his coverage, and that was the year I didn't make it to Comic-Con. I just started my new job, and I didn't feel like I could take a week off after I had only been there a month, and I didn't go, and I was very depressed watching all the panels online. But the truth is, you can watch most of the panels online. You might not see all the exclusive stuff that they're showing to just the people in house.
But you know what, you get a lot of the cool stuff that people end up talking about, like when Tom Hiddleston showed up in full Loki gear. Like you got to I saw the video of that, and I'm like, that was so much better seeing the YouTube of it than if I had actually been in Hall H, because I would have been so far in the back, I wouldn't have been able to appreciate it.
And then, oh god, Bryan Cranston was walking around on the floor with the
Heisenberg mask,
with the Walter White mask on, and people kept taking pictures with him, saying, "Oh, that's a great mask," and he was changing his voice so they wouldn't know it was actually him.
Yeah.
When he came out on stage in Hall H, he pulled the mask off to show that it was actually him the whole time. So all those people on the floor who were taking pictures with Walter White in this mask actually took a picture with Bryan Cranston,
which is really cool. Like
that's the magic of
does
Comic-Con.
Yeah,
and that people, you never know who you're going to run into. I saw the Game of Thrones actors I think they were at the Warner Brothers booth, which makes no sense to me, but I think that's where they were, because they were up top. Okay. And I could see them up there, and
the Warner Brothers booth has like their special celebrity VIP lounge up there, so that's why everybody's up there.
They ended up there, but that was as close to that panel as I got, and I just think to survive Comic-Con, just, bring water, bring snacks, and then plan what you want to see and give yourself plenty of time to get there.
Yeah.
And, you still might not get in. Even though I say, I waited in line 8 hours and I didn't get in, and it's disappointing. It was, but I had a great time talking to the fans I was in line with.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. We talked about costumes, we talked about Game of Thrones, we talked about everything. I was wearing my Sarumann shirt that day, too, when I was sitting in line. And, just getting to talk to fans is the best.
Rovandir just mentioned they've been talking about Loki in the comments, and Rovandir just mentioned Floki from the show Vikings, who is one of the coolest characters in that show.
Okay, I don't watch that.
Vikings is so darn cool.
Isn't that a Fox show? I think
no, it's a History Channel show.
I should be watching that.
It's a History Channel show, which is even weirder, but it's such a good show, and I have to admit, I've got the strongest crush on Lagertha. It's not even funny. Especially this past season when she gets all shield maiden and kick butt.
Is it on? It's on season 2 now, right?
They finished season 2.
Oh, okay.
So now we're in a hiatus. But yeah, like if you have a chance to catch up on it, definitely do. It's a fantastic show.
Oh no, not another
I know, it's crazy.
I don't have enough time in the day because, of course, I love Marvel.
You got your Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. jacket.
Marvel, I did to, I was into Harry Potter. Harry Potter actually helped me through my dry spell when Lord of the Rings was gone.
Yeah, I think Harry Potter helped out a lot of us during the Lord of the Rings hiatus.
Yeah, so much so that I had my license plate was originally Namarier.
Oh, okay.
And nobody could pronounce it. Everybody said it was Namari. I was asked if it was my name. I was like, oh dear God.
Yeah, I know, you get that a lot.
And so finally I got frustrated with it and I dropped it, and that was in the middle of my Harry Potter stage, and I had K Snape for a while. But the thing about Harry Potter, I do love it, and I think it's a great fandom, and I have nothing against them, but it doesn't have the weight for me as Lord of the Rings. So my K Snape is gone, and now it's Isengard.
Nice.
Isengard is my license plate.
Which makes total sense because
I am Sarumanella.
Yes. For those of you who may not know, she used to cosplay as a female Saruman for many, many years.
Oh God, I still have it. It's over 10 years. I made my staff, and it lights up.
And it's a great costume. Yeah.
I love it.
Is it retired now, or are you
No, it's not retired. I wore it earlier this year at one of the events at Meltdown Comics, I believe it was.
Oh, okay.
I did wear it there. It's just gotten a little big. I've shed some pounds.
That's good. Good for
you.
I
know it's a good way to say your costume doesn't fit.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it's a good. Oh, my costumes don't fit anymore. It's in a good way. So I may remake the dress. The outer robe, it doesn't matter. So I will be wearing that. I think I'm going to wear that. I think I'll wear Sarumanella on Thursday.
Okay.
On Comic-Con.
Okay, cool.
Sarumanella, Coulson. I have a femme Coulson.
Oh, nice.
And then Galadriel, which, it's blue. I made this ice blue Galadriel. It's Galadriel style, and I beaded it, and everybody's going to think I'm Elsa.
Of course.
But I did this before, Elsa.
Yeah. So, okay, Simply Smaug, I have to ask. You just posted something saying, I am fire. I'm guessing that's a license plate. Do you have that, or is that one that you want? Or please tell me that this is a license plate that exists somewhere, because that is amazing.
Oh, that would be awesome. I know it's so hard it gets so disheartening when you go in there and you type in what you want, and then you can't get it because somebody else already has it, because everybody in California has vanity plates.
Yeah, mine is just your standard license plate.
Because I wanted Orthanc. Because if I could live anywhere in Middle-earth, and it's probably weird, because most people would say Shire or Rivendell, I would live in Orthanc.
Really?
I would. I find it stunning.
Okay.
And
I want to hear more about this. Like, what is the appeal of Orthanc?
Orthanc is a stunning. I mean, that's why I like the staff so much too. I don't know. Maybe I just like the points, but just the way it looks and the way because it's based on is it Alan Lee's cover, I believe.
Yeah.
And it just the way it looks, and Saruman's my favorite character anyway. And I find it I don't know, it's just nice. It's where it's located. It's in a good central location, and I probably would like the trees to stay. I wouldn't scour it or whatever. But even afterwards, I've always said that after the Ents come and release the river, and they just put in my pool, and I can dive off the balcony into the deep pool.
Well, Saruman did do that, but it didn't end very well for him.
Yeah. Oh no. I don't like that version. Oh well,
it's
they
a little
break
over
my
the top.
staff.
Yeah.
They break my staff first,
Yeah.
and that makes me cry. When I saw the extended edition, I was like, oh my god.
But it happens in the books.
I knew it was coming. It doesn't happen that way in the books.
No, it does not.
I mean, well, speaking of differences in the books, the only thing the movies did wrong for me was the end of Two Towers.
Okay.
I just didn't like the ring going to Osgiliath. I know why he did it.
I do too, but it was such. Excuse me. It really changed Faramir's character, which I really liked Faramir as a student of Gandalf who knows what the ring is and is prepared to resist it, as opposed to, oh my god, I have this great opportunity to get in with my father who has hated me since I was born, apparently.
Yeah. That really is the only issue. And with the Hobbit movies, honestly, I don't have any issues with them so far. I know a lot of people do. I'm one of the pro movie versus the book. I think the Hobbit is a very full book. Things happen in a paragraph in the Hobbit that takes Lord of the Rings 3 chapters.
This is true.
And I think that him expanding it is fine. Did it need to necessarily be 3 movies? Maybe not. But I appreciate the fact that I get to live through this again.
Yeah. And that's kind of like what the appeal for The Hobbit is for me, primarily, is that it's a return to Middle-earth. And, I mean, I will be the first to say that it is not as epic a journey as Lord of the Rings was, but it was never going to be.
It never was. The books don't carry the same weight, so the movies can't really carry the same weight.
Right.
But I think The Hobbit, to me, was such a charming story, and I mean, they have darkened it down in the movies a little bit, and that I'm fine with that too.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be back, and like the fandom's kind of refreshed, and
and we have so many new faces. So like we have, like, I hate to say it, but like we got a whole new generation. Like,
we do.
Like,
oh God, make me feel old when the new people say, "Oh well, I was 4 when Lord of the Rings."
Oh my God, I deal with this all the time. Like, so many people like who I'm talking with who are like really into it. I'm like, what did you think of Lord of the Rings? And like, well, I was 5 when Lord of the Rings came out. I'm like, you go away! I need to go to a retirement home.
I know, oh my God. I'm right there with you, actually. We've already figured out I'm older than you are. So, But yeah, I just love that. I mean, it's made things easier and brought more people together. And yeah, I'm sure after the movies are done, people will wander away. But a good group always stays, and that's what's kept us going and alive for the past 13 years.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, the fact that we were able to keep the Hall of Fire and the Baggins Picnic going through the decade between these two movies, and with rather good, solid attendance each year, I have to say.
And I mean, I actually got to tell Peter Jackson, because I met him at a premiere, the Return of the King premiere.
Okay, yeah.
I got to tell him how he changed my life, because he really did. And I mean, I know a lot of people say that, but all the friends I have now, just everything started with Lord of the Rings. I mean, I moved out to California in 1998, and I didn't know anybody when I set foot in this state. I just always wanted to live here, so I came. And I started working in the entertainment industry, and bottom tier, putting labels on tapes. Remember tapes?
Nobody
does. Okay.
Oh, I remember tapes. Oh, God,
putting
I remember
labels on tapes. And so, I knew people through work, and I still know some of them. They're great people, but like the people I really started connecting with, I met through this fandom. And I mean, they're still my good friends today, and I really don't know where I'd be without them.
Yeah, I know. I'm the same way. Like, the main majority of my friends that I have today, I met through either through Lord of the Rings fandom or tangentially from it later on.
Yeah, friends of friends. I met a few people like that too. Most of mine are truly all my TF members. They've become my little. Okay, I call them minions. They hate that, but but what is Saruman? What is Sarumanella gonna call her?
Yeah, you're the fearless leader, so it only makes sense.
But I mean, I appreciate all of them, all of our, all of my members who are in the thing, and people who, want to be like friends. I mean, you can friend me on Facebook. I'm a little wary about just friending every person who sends me a friend request through the group, because I'm sorry, I don't know everybody, and I've been getting lately a lot more like random friend requests that I don't know who it is. It's not really. If you're a Tolkien fan, I would probably love to be friends with you. Just forgive me if I don't click right away, because I don't know you yet. I try to keep the feed a little cleaner.
We all do that. Okay. So Suzanne is asking, remember how we met? Oh God, yes, I remember how we met, Suzanne. It was through Kathy Garfymau, who was another Torrent staffer, and I remember she put out a message either to a message board or emailing a few friends as a group, saying, I have a friend, Suzanne, who needs a ride down to Comic-Con. And I was like, I'll do it. I'm driving down there. Never met her before in my life, and she had never met me. Yeah. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to road trip down to Comic-Con with a stranger. I hope she's not a serial killer. And I'm sure she was thinking the exact same thing about me.
That was the first Torn Oscar party. I had people stay with me who I'd never met, and I don't know, there was a safety in it. Maybe I was naive, but obviously I'm still alive, so I'm fine.
Yeah, so you're okay.
But it was just, I felt so safe, and the fandom has such, like I said, such heart. I felt safe inviting people over, picking people up, and whatever. Yeah. And Nicole and I were actually roommates for a while when she finally did move out here. Oh God, that's probably been 10 years ago already.
Oh God.
Now too, I'm usually okay with 10 years. When I start talking about things that are 20 years ago, that's when I start freaking out. But
Well, 20 years ago was when I first started reading Lord of the Rings and first really getting into this. Now I had been into Tolkien stuff before. Like I grew up watching The Hobbit when I was a kid, and I watched the Return of the King Rankin Bass movie, which is so awful in retrospect. And I also watched and Lord of the Rings, the Bakshi version. Grew up with all that, and it was after all that I read that I finally read the books, and it was like a life-changing experience reading those books. Like I sort of like also as a writer, it was amazing to watch that and then or to read those books and then be like, this is what you can do in books. This is the potential of the imagination, and it like sort of changed me as a writer.
Yeah, well, the thing about Tolkien is he created this whole mythology, which is what he was trying to create, a mythology for England or whatever. I've read that somewhere. And he created this whole world, and it's not only just a world that's very rich and multiple languages and multiple cultures and stuff that you can just really delve into. It's also a world that you want to live in.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I want to live in Orthanc. I want to go summer in Rivendell or in the Shire, have a big party, because it's that rich. You actually want to visit it. I mean, I like Game of Thrones, Song of Fire and Ice, Ice and Fire.
Song of Ice and Fire, yeah.
In that backwards. But I don't want to go there.
No.
I don't want to go there because you're going to get killed. But
there was a meme about that where it's like Harry Potter fans, I can't wait to go to Hogwarts, and Lord of the Rings fans, I want to go to the Shire. Game of Thrones fans, you know what? I'm good.
I'll sit here. I'll watch from afar. I like my fourth wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's axe proof or whatever.
Yeah.
It just I don't. It's not the same the way that and George R.R. Martin, which I think he's a great writer, and he has created a great background. And if you haven't read the books, there's so much more than just the show, and there's a lot of backstory and religion, and stuff which will come out, I think, eventually, slowly.
Yeah.
But it's not the way Tolkien described his world and created his world. It just feels so much like, so much more richer, and I just want to just go there, and you could spend years just wandering, and I would even want to go to Balador. I always considered that my winter home because it had lava. And I don't like cold, so if it was cold, I could go there and be warm. And then like if I wanted to really have a really spectacular party, you'd have to go to Minas Morgul because you could send up that spire and tell everybody it's time.
Yep.
Come party.
Yeah. The Dark Lord really had like. He had the locations down.
He did. I mean, all right. Minas Tirith is nice. Minas Morgul.
Yeah. Everybody apparently wants to go to Hogwarts.
Hogwarts? Oh.
Well, you got the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal Studios.
And I will have to go. I will have to go.
When it opens up out here, I'm definitely going.
I will have to go see that as well. I know. Well, I'll tell you, I got sorted into Slytherin.
I got sorted into Gryffindor.
Yeah.
We are forever enemies.
Yes, we are. Hey, Slytherin, I don't think Slytherin's necessarily bad. We're just... No. We have our own...
you got your own way of doing things.
Yeah.
But as a Gryffindor, I am obligated to say your way of doing things is wrong.
Oh, judgmental Gryffindors.
Yep, that's how we roll.
Well, it's like every time I take any of these quizzes, I was taking so many the other day, and they all ended up so dark. I was like, oh my god, I might really be evil or something. I mean, I think I took one that said your element, and I was like, oh, it's going to be water. I was taking the thing. I was so happy. It's going to be water. It was darkness.
Darkness?
Which I didn't even know was an element.
Is that even an element?
I don't know. And I was like, whoa, okay. I was like, I think I answered these pretty honestly.
Oh, dear.
I was like, darkness.
Wow.
I'm like, okay. I know I work for darkness. I'll tell. I work for Fox. Don't hold that against me.
Okay, Jan is saying, I've played Pottermore when it came out, but I wasn't sorted into Gryffindor, and I still asked him, what house did you get? Ravenclaw. Okay. Maybe. Ravenclaw's a good house.
No, it is a good house. And one of my friends was upset.
All the houses have, like, their benefits and their
one of my friends was upset because she got put into Hufflepuff.
But Hufflepuffs are so cuddly.
I know. Well, actually, it was my sister. So, yeah, Hufflepuff is good. Mm-hmm. Just embrace your house. Yeah. We need houses in Lord of the Rings. That's what we need.
Yeah. Like, we've got the races in Middle-earth. But, and I mean, I'm straight up Hobbit. Well, I've taken those quizzes, and I am definitely a Hobbit.
I think I got Dwarf last time.
Okay.
I don't know. There's so many of those, I can't even tell you.
Yeah, I know.
Over the years, I think I've been everything.
Yeah, I try not to take too many of the online quizzes because it really is like a rabbit hole you go down.
Oh, it is. You'll keep going. Oh, well, I want to know what flower I am. For no reason at all.
Temple says, just the name Hufflepuff makes me think of Pokemon. That's so true.
Yeah, well, Hufflepuff their color's yellow. I'm not a big fan of yellow, so I don't know. I was perfectly happy with my Slytherin. I think I had one, because I took a lot of those during the time. I think I had one put me in Gryffindor, and that one I was kind of suspect of. I was like, did they put everybody in Gryffindor? Because it seems like that's where everybody wants to be. So, but all the rest of them put me in Slytherin. So I was like, okay. I'll stay in Slytherin.
Interesting.
Because I have my Slytherin student outfit. Which is way too hot to wear in Southern California. Because those films, and hell, even Lord of the Rings, they're all filmed in cooler locales. Well, no, I guess not necessarily New Zealand in the summertime.
Yeah, New Zealand can get pretty hot. So I've heard. I've never been there.
Me either.
Need to go.
I know. I was planning on a trip next year. I don't know if I'll make it.
It is on my list of places to go at some point in my life. Before I die. That's the limit I put on myself. I'm not allowed to die before I go to New Zealand.
Well, Carol and I were planning a trip for next year, but I think just looking at the way things are going right now, I don't think I'm going to have time and or funds to go this next year, but soon. I'm hoping to go soon. And then movies will all be done, so I think I'll have plenty of locations to choose from, and I'll be able to wander around it. I will probably not want to leave, but I feel like if I fly halfway across the world, and I hate flying, that I want to stay there at least 3 weeks.
Oh yeah,
if not 4. So I really, that's what I mean. I just have to save up enough and get enough vacation time accrued, and have them let me go for a month, and that's the difficulty.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to just fly over there and then turn around and come back. You won't even get over your jet lag.
Yeah. No, if I go to New Zealand, I'd want to stay there for an extended period of time, which unfortunately I can't do right now, just because of all the work that I'm doing on Blu-ray stuff. Yeah. Because we're finishing up Star Trek this year, but there are other things in the pipeline that are coming on fast.
We both kind of do the same thing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You work in a quality controller.
Actually, I work at Fox now. So
okay.
I'm a Blu-ray DVD coordinator.
Oh, okay.
I've been working on, my title right now is Fault in Our Stars, and my title that's coming up is Planet of the Apes.
Oh, nice.
Dawn of Planet of the Apes.
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. That's cool. Yeah, I've been working on Star Trek almost nonstop. Well, no, we did it. I did Twin Peaks not too long ago, so we finished that up. There are some other things in the pipeline that I'm not allowed to talk about, so I won't.
Yeah, they keep coming. Once you finish, you're already starting. Actually, they always overlap.
Yeah, so they do. I've been taking a little bit of a lull in taking advantage of this lull that we've got in our Blu-ray schedule, because we did slow down our Star Trek schedule, thank God.
No, those came out fast.
They did. They really did. And it was tough for me just to keep up with it all. But we slowed it down. I was able to do some more regular DVDs. Let's see. Jan is saying, I just heard more bad news about the sale of DVDs and Blu-rays today. I'm not a fan of digital-only feature. That's interesting, because I heard the Blu-ray sales are up this year.
I think they're doing a little better. I will tell you, we notice an uptick in rentals, and people don't necessarily want to buy a DVD for their extras. They'll go to Redbox. Yeah. And that's why we always create a rental SKU, and it doesn't have any of that special features or anything on it. And I will tell you, the Blu-rays generally always have more content on them, because first of all, they're bigger discs, so they can hold more. The DVDs are very limited. I'm just a big fan of the high definition look, and there is 4K on the horizon, and I'm hoping it stays. I don't want it to come too fast, because I'm not ready to make that transition myself.
Yeah, well, I'm a Blu-ray author, and we have no specs, no standards, no software to even do it right now.
We are working on it.
Yeah, I know.
Once because the client starts pushing, and we had a couple of 4K titles recently. I think they did some catalog titles. I work in new release, so I don't really touch those. But ultra high def or 4K or whatever. I just don't want to redo.
They're calling it ultra high def.
Yeah, I don't want to redo my entertainment center again.
Yeah.
I like it the way it is.
Yeah, well, I only buy Blu-rays of stuff I really want.
Yeah, and I think that's really what it's coming down to. With Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, people can get content they want now, and they don't necessarily need to run out and buy the disc. They can get it there, or they can go rent it at Redbox, even though, there's no more Blockbuster or whatever.
Yeah.
But they can go rent it. They don't have to buy it. And so the people who love the franchise or the movie, they're the ones who we're really making the disc for. And I think that we're going to see more of the create on demand.
Yeah.
Or print on demand. Or there'll be small runs, and then the rest would be like print on demand.
Yeah.
And which is easier with DVD at this point.
We're doing
so
that with
Blu-ray.
some DVD titles.
Yeah.
Like some of our, like, Survivor. We do that with Survivor because there just isn't enough of a demand to do, like, a huge print run.
Like, I think, like, for television series especially, they're making less Blu-rays because people get it on Netflix.
Yeah.
And people don't buy them, unfortunately. They don't. Like, only people who buy them are the hardcore fans.
Right, yeah. So Jan is saying releasing The Hobbit on iTunes before the DVD was just stupid. It was a bold experiment, I think. I feel like it was trying to test the waters to see how well a digital download would do on its own.
Yeah. But a lot of studios are doing that.
Yeah.
They do release it that way. They're trying to see, do people like this? And I for one, I'm with you. I don't like to just have stuff. I like the physical disc, and I like to be able to hold it and access it and jump around the menu, which most times is not possible. But I did see The Hobbit actually had a great menu on its online thing.
Okay.
One of my friends, Dot, she had it downloaded on her iPad. And it had a great menu.
Okay, that's
cool.
cool.
So if things start going that way, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I eventually accepted not having CDs anymore. The last time I bought a CD was forever ago. Although, even when
Eravandi is saying, I will stubbornly hold on to buying DVDs until they no longer make them. Thank you, Eravandi.
You know what? We will both thank you.
You are keeping us employed.
But I think, eventually, space-wise, as my house is very crowded, the stuff that I don't have a passion for, like, yes, I'm always going to buy The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings. If they come out with a new master box set with everything, I'm going to buy it. There we go. I said it, make it. But, for, some show that I'm watching or that I'm not particularly in love with, but I just want to see it, or, just own the digital is a way to go that way. Because basically, for those things, I don't care about the extras, is basically what I'm saying. But anything that I love, like extras, and I want commentaries and stuff, I feel like the physical disc, I love it. I must have it, which is why I have no space in my house.
Yep, I hear you. Well, I don't have a huge collection like over here, which you can't see on the screen. It is my rather paltry DVD and Blu-ray collection.
Well, I have so many. I have this giant. Everything in my house has to have storage in it. So I have a giant ottoman that's full, and then I have a fireplace. It's a one of those gel fireplaces, but it has storage for DVDs on the side too. So I've got them everywhere, and there's a big shelf above the television where I put all my favorites. So of course Lord of the Rings is up there, and Firefly is up there, and my Marvel movies, and Star Wars, even though, well, we don't want to get into that.
I've got like 2 or 3 different versions of Star Wars over there. I got the DVDs, I got the Blu-rays.
Yeah, well, I appreciate because I worked at THX, so I worked on all of those.
Okay.
I'm not really. Oh God, I'm gonna be.
I've got Firefly on both the DVD and Blu-ray, so
I'm gonna be crucified. But I was never really a big Star Wars fan.
It's okay.
But I worked on those just so much that they're just part of me now. And like the Alien anthology set that came out, that was that one about killed me.
So apparently in the chat, Jan is talking about doing a big Batman marathon at some point. And
all right, send me an invite.
I still was asking, are you guys going to watch all the Batman movies? You have to realize there are 7 of those. That is a lot of movie watching.
Well, you know what? We're going to have 6.
8 if you count the Adam West movie.
Yeah, we're going to have 6 Lord of the Rings for this ultimate marathon that will eventually happen. I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but
yeah.
I will. Oh, We already did the 4 last year.
Yeah. Last year we did the 4, and I couldn't make it through. Like, I kept having to go in and out of the theater.
Yeah, I remember watching The Hobbit, and then we're like, okay, I'm gonna watch part of this, and then we're gonna go get something to eat.
Yeah. I think like at one point we all did just like duck out and get something to eat, and then come back and it was still going.
Yeah, it's still going. And I don't even think those were the extended cuts. Were they showing?
Yeah, they were the extended versions. I can't even
remember because I didn't stay.
It wasn't the extended version of The Hobbit because at that point the extended version had not come out yet. Yeah. This was Unexpected Journey. This was even before Desolation of Smaug had even come out.
Yeah, they didn't really do one this year. There was no 5 screening.
They didn't?
No, I didn't see it, or I missed it.
Oh, dang.
Somebody can tell me if I missed it.
Yeah.
But that, and if I did miss it, then I'm going to have to yell at TF because they didn't tell me about it.
Yeah.
The purpose of you existing.
Yes.
Of course, I'm helping out with Torn, so I should have paid more attention to my fault.
Yeah.
If it did happen.
We're in that point of time now where there's so much going on that it's kind of easy to like miss a couple things here and there. Yeah. Which, like I say, is a great problem to have.
It really is. It's a problem of riches.
Yeah.
Which like you want to have when you're in those lean years and nothing is going on, and then in the years when it's happening, you're like, oh my god, I'm so overwhelmed by it all. Yeah. And the TF, like, because we used to be a Yahoo group. It actually still exists. It's just no one hardly ever posts over there. But there were just crickets because we just had nothing, and that's when we were like, "Oh, let's have a game night," and that's just to keep everybody together. And I mean, the thing about TF that I love and that this fandom brought together so many people from so many different walks of life. Like I said, Carol's a vet. Rhonda is actually a rocket scientist.
I know.
Literally a rocket scientist.
She works for JPL.
Yeah, we have teachers.
And what's crazy is she's
artists.
not the only Tolkien fan I know who works for JPL.
Yeah.
There's also Mike Urban, Ostadan.
Oh, nice. I did not know that you actually worked for JPL.
Yeah.
There's so many people were brought together from so many different walks of life, and we all just loved this. And I was always so worried. I was like, the only thing we have in common is this fandom, and once it's over, it's all going to break apart. But it actually didn't.
It doesn't. No, it never really broke apart. And like, I mean, you had a few people who sort of drifted away, but like for the most part, the main bulk of the group has stayed.
Yeah, they have. Like they've been there from the beginning, and they're still there. And we rented limos for Oscar parties together, and we get together. We have what we call Fellowship of the Cloth, and we've made costumes. And I'm a big cosplayer. I have several, and like I'm doing the masquerade for the first time this year. This is an experience for me. I've never done it before.
Okay. At Comic-Con?
At Comic-Con.
Wow. Okay, that's bold.
I think it's gonna be great. I can't wait for everybody to see it. But it's been a challenge. I've always I'm a cosplayer, but I've always liked to just put my own little spin on it. Like I said, my Galadriel is blue instead of white, and that's just mainly because I shouldn't wear white. I'll just get tea or something on it. But this is actually doing a true recreation. I'm remaking Sansa's pink dress from season 1. So
okay.
I'm way behind.
Okay.
Although if I had known about that black thing she walked out in at the end of this season,
that was amazing.
I would have done that, even feathers and all, because that was fabulous. But I'm doing that and actually trying to find things that are very representative of what's on the screen was a lot harder than I expected. Because my Saruman or Sarumanella, I did my staff and I thought it was very accurate, but then I got the actual one and it's different. Mine lights up though.
Yeah.
Lights up, so it wins.
Yeah. There you go.
But my dress was just a pattern. We call it the one dress pattern. Because that princess line dress. We made everything out of that.
Yeah.
And, it was just my take on it. And the nice thing is that people still get it. So, I mean, if you're scared, if you want to do costuming and you're like, oh, I don't know how to get in and people won't know, don't worry about it. If you get just the overall impression, it's going to go off great.
Yeah. I'm not much of a costumer. Like, I've got some Victorian costumes that I purchased for this museum that I volunteer for, because I'm a docent guide some of the time at this Victorian museum, and we have to do them in costume. And, well, nothing that they had in stock fit me because, well, I'm a big dude. And so I had to buy my own stuff, and I got a few things, and one of them is this burgundy frock coat, which I realized, like, if I just change the waistcoat, change the pants, do a little adjustments here and there, I've got a pretty solid Bilbo costume.
Yeah. And it's you just have to give that overall impression. You don't have to strive to be, I couldn't find this exact trim.
Yeah.
My next Lord of the Rings costume or Hobbit costume, really, I'm trying to make a Thorin, but I'm taking it feminine.
Okay.
And I'm trying to do his prologue.
Okay.
The blue.
Oh, okay.
Not necessarily like I don't want the...
So the Erebor Thorin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going with that, and I hope to have that done by the time the movie comes out.
Yeah.
Which means I need to, get everything done with Sansa, and then I can start working on that, and then I have I also did a Coulson, a feminine Coulson.
Oh, nice.
Which I will be wearing at Comic-Con, but I don't have the gun. I'm going to make that big gun. And
the destroyer gun. Nice.
And because I like props, and I'm decent with them.
Nice.
So I want to get that done for Kamikaze, which is why I brought up, are we doing anything at Kamikaze? Everybody come see Kamikaze. It's a great little con.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up to the staff, because I don't think we had anything planned for Kamikaze, but this is the last year for The Hobbit.
Yeah.
And Kamikaze is the last convention before the movie comes out.
Yeah.
Like
it's Halloween weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's going to conflict with a lot of things.
But it would be nice for us to be able to do something.
Yeah. I'm there, so I'll help.
Mm-hmm.
And
but
then,
we're gonna have our Hobbit panel at Comic-Con this year, which I don't know how much we're gonna have.
I hope I get in, because
Yeah.
I couldn't even get in to our own panel last year.
Well, we're in a much bigger room this year, so that'll help.
So get in line early.
But we're not gonna have that much for the visuals, because we're not gonna have a trailer in time.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna have that teaser trailer, and maybe we'll have some things, and once it hits, the speculation is gonna go through the roof.
Yeah.
So that'll be a fun panel to do. So just looking at the chat here, everybody's talking about audiobooks and what you do while listening to them.
Drive.
Yeah,
I listen to it in the car.
I've got an hour commute to work, so I listen to my audiobooks while I'm driving, and sometimes I like to go out walking, and I'll listen to my audiobooks there. I got through Ready Player One in maybe about 2 weeks.
Wow.
That's how much I was I didn't want to put it down, so I just kept listening to it even after I got home. I just keep listening.
Yeah, I tried to stop. The only thing about listening to an audiobook in the car is you're like, oh, my commute's over, but I'm in the middle of a chapter.
Yeah, exactly.
And you actually don't know where the chapter ends because you're in an audiobook, so you're like, how long am I going to have to sit here?
Well, if you have the Audible app, you can actually bring up how many minutes are left in the chapter.
Oh, see, I'm not that good with the Audible.
Oh, okay.
I have my Amazon Music on here, and I have to admit, I listen to the same songs over and over. When I get obsessed with something, I just listen to it constantly.
Yeah. Well, and the speculation for what's going to happen in the third Hobbit movie has begun.
Oh.
Suzanne is saying Tauriel's going to die.
Suzanne, I have to agree with you.
I am holding out hope that they will take it in a different direction. It's not much hope, but I've still got it.
I feel spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't read the books. Plug your ears or whatever. But there's so much more death in The Hobbit than there actually is in Lord of the Rings.
There really is.
So I feel like she's gonna die as well, and I just feel like it's because they put this romance with
Keely,
and I think that is the way it's gonna go. I mean, all right, if it's not, I'll be fine. But I do
okay.
Feel like
Temple is saying
happen.
that Evangeline Lilly kind of hinted at Tauriel dying.
Did she?
Okay.
Where'd you see that? Was that on an interview or something?
Knowing Evangeline Lilly and how chatty she is, I'm sure she might have let something slip somewhere.
She was great with that fan event they had.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
See, that's the thing. We had more of that last year, too.
Yeah.
I feel like, why are we're being reined in?
I'm
ready to go.
I don't think it's intentional on their part so much as like Peter Jackson has said that they are running behind on getting all the effects together for the Battle of the Five Armies, which is really the big selling point for the movie.
That's true. They changed the name to it, so it better be.
So I think that has a lot to do with them holding stuff back. It's not like they're trying to keep stuff from the fans. It's
no, I don't feel
what
that.
we have just isn't ready to be shown yet.
Yeah.
Because
That's true.
Peter Jackson is not one to hide stuff for the sake of hiding it. except when it comes to like certain key elements, like hiding what Gollum was officially going to look like, or what Shelob was officially going to look like, what Smaug was officially going to look like.
Yeah.
And you know what? But those reveals just like were really good.
Yeah. Although we're so persistent because we're just like, oh my god, there's this statue in the lobby. Is that Smaug? Is that what Smaug looks like? We were just digging.
Oh yeah.
We're just he
everywhere.
has to hide
Everywhere.
And like speaking of Gollum, I just have to give a shout out because Andy Serkis. Remember when Two Towers was out and they were lobbying to get him, an actor nod for Gollum
for best supporting, which he really
deserves.
He deserved that more than anybody.
Yeah, and now I feel like he's getting the recognition he needs. He hasn't won an Oscar or anything yet, but and I say yet.
Yeah.
Because
it's a question of when, not if.
I hear he's working with the Avengers, the new Avengers movie.
Yeah, he just got signed on for Age of Ultron.
Yeah, and Planet of the Apes and Star Wars. I mean, he's becoming he is the leader in motion capture. Yeah. And I'm so proud to see it because he's such a great, if you've never had the privilege to meet him.
Oh, I've met him, yeah.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
He's such a friendly guy. Like, that was my impression of him when I met him.
Yeah.
At
ArcLight is where I met him.
I met him at our Two Towers line party.
Oh, okay.
Like, he crashed that one time. And we were on camera and I was talking with him and he actually talked me into doing a Gollum impression in front of him, which is one of the most mortifying experiences of my life. But it was so fun.
I wouldn't do a Gollum impression in front of Andy.
Oh,
I have a life-size Gollum, which is my pride and joy, and I usually dressed him up. I used to dress him up more. I don't dress him up so much now. I used to dress him up for holidays and stuff. But I did actually get to go at the One Ring celebration, which...
Yeah.
Okay. We need to have those again.
Those were fun.
I got to get it signed by Andy, and we had a photo op. And so I have this great portrait of me and Andy Serkis and Gollum in the middle in his little tux. It looks like a weird family portrait or something. But,
I remember that. That was so adorable.
And I was last in line, and my Gollum, he's not really heavy, but he's kind of awkward. He's one of the store displays, not the actual Weta one, but he's a really rare. He's a store display.
Oh, okay.
So to carry him around, I usually put him in a stroller. It's just the easiest way to do it, and it looks. It really, I do look like.
It's so cute.
I really do look like I have a really ugly child, and people do double takes sometimes. They're just like, oh my god, look at her kid is awful. But I put him back in that stroller, and I was just hanging around in that room because the guy was making my disc with my photos on it, and Andy came out and saw Gollum in that stroller.
Oh dear.
And he took all these additional pictures of with him and pushing the stroller, and I have all these pictures too of Andy because the photographer said, I said, look, I will pay you for these pictures. He's like, no, they're yours because he just reacted because he just happened to walk back out, and that's the kind of guy he is, and he's fantastic. And, I have this forever. It's
and that's another thing that I think sort of keeps the Tolkien fandom strong is that everybody who is involved with the movies are very engaging with the fans, and they're very friendly with them.
Very generous with their time.
Yeah. Like, at FantasyCon, I was seeing all these images of just everybody who was there from the movies just interacting with the fans and talking with the fans and doing just lots of fun stuff with the fans.
Then Adam came by the booth. I think I saw a picture of that.
Adam Brown came by the booth. I'm sure Jed Brophy did as well. And I know that John Rhys Davies was there, and he was the guy who gave everybody a heart attack at the Two Towers Oscar party because he basically ditched his security detail and just walked out and mingled with the fans.
Yeah, he did. I got to interact with him on the floor of Two Towers. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. It gave everybody a heart attack.
Well, that was unfortunately, because as the movies get bigger, they've got to have security and they've got to be a little more distant. But because that was the magic of the first one, is that didn't have any of that because you didn't know what was going to happen. You look back in the crowd and Ian McKellen's just sitting out there in our little room. Yeah, and it's hard to recapture that, but
it is. Yeah,
and they have to take their security seriously.
They do have to take it seriously because while most fans are very personable and cognizant of personal space, there are a couple who are not.
Yeah.
And they're the ones who ruin it for everybody, unfortunately. But, again, that comes with just about any fandom.
It does. All, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it's just the way it is, and, like, I mean, I still love fandom. I love Tolkien fandom, particularly. What is that? I don't know what they're talking about. They're talking about deaths in The Hobbit.
Oh.
And how if you cram too many into it, they may have less of an emotional impact.
I think they're going to be pretty emotionally.
There are going to be a few, I'm sure, but I have a feeling that they are going to be quite impactful.
Yeah, again, spoiler alert.
They spoiled it in the chat, but we're not going to do it on the show. Like,
okay. Well, some of the actors have talked about their scenes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I think it's going to be quite emotional. I mean, I got so emotional at the end of... It was actually at the end of Two Towers, which I was crying a lot because I was thinking of what would be in Return of the King. Mm-hmm. I got to see Two Towers in a sneak peek at LACMA.
Oh, okay.
With Howard Shore.
Nice.
He was there, and I had him sign my things, and he just signed it Howard. He didn't sign Shore. It said, to Kristi, all the best or whatever, Howard. And I was like, well, I didn't know I was on the first name basis with Howard Shore. I don't know if he got distracted.
Now you are.
But we got to see it there, and then I was so emotional. And then, of course, when Return of the King came and Thorin dies, and I was just, oh my God, I was a wreck. So I'm preparing.
Wait, Return of the King? Thorin wasn't in Return of the
Not
King.
Not Thorin. Oh, I meant Bernard Hill.
Oh, Theoden.
Theoden.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, God.
Freudian slip if ever there was one.
No, sorry. Yeah, Theoden. Return of King. Okay, sorry. That's a horrible. Sorry.
That was a pretty emotional scene. Like,
yeah.
I gotta say, like, but like for me, I was able to keep it together pretty well through all the movies. But the scene that always gets me in Return of the King, doesn't matter how many times I see it, I start bawling, is when Aragorn says to the hobbits, "You bow to no one," and everybody in Minas Tirith bows down to him. Like, I lose it every time. Doesn't matter how many times I've seen it.
I know and everybody.
And then from that point out, I'm a mess.
Yeah, everybody talks about there's too many endings, but seriously, those are for the fans, and and I feel like that's what The Hobbit is for too. It's for the fans.
Yeah.
And everything that they're putting in, they're doing it for you, and I mean, just appreciate the fact that we get more movies, and and yes, they're going to make money because they're a studio, and they're in a business, but for us as fans to get to go back to Middle Earth and get to the more they give us, the more time we have to live in the world before it starts like fading away in the culture. And of course, we will still be our core group and stuff, and we can talk about making this Silmarillion. But
there have been core groups since the '60s.
Yeah,
and it's always been very tight, close knit groups, and it's been like very strong bonds of fellowship and friendship. Like, I hate
the
to be
Mythopoeic Society,
and actually that was my first trip ever to LA was to MythCon out here, and it was because they were doing a tribute to Tolkien. Like, Tolkien was like their focus for that convention, and I wanted to go. So flew out here, and this is a weird story with MythCon, because this plays into my very bizarre relationship with Orson Scott Card.
Okay, you might need to explain who that is, because I don't.
He is the writer of Ender's Game, who has sort of lost a lot of favor in the sci-fi community because he's gone on some very ultra conservative tirades.
I have heard this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, but that didn't happen until recently. And this was back when I met him. This was in the 90s. And he was still he was a very friendly guy, and he was a very personable guy, and you could chat with him. And I remember chatting with him quite a bit. And it was at this MythCon that he actually put together and performed his own audio dramatization of The Lord of the Rings.
Oh, wow.
And it was actually very well done. And like I kept in touch with him because I was actually taping it, which apparently he did not have the foresight to do. So I taped the whole thing and then emailed him like later on saying like, I have video of this, would you like it? And he was like, oh my god, yes, please, I forgot to tape it. And so like I had like this sort of back and forth with him for a while, and then when I published my book, Ben, it was actually nominated for the same award that his most recent book was nominated for. Neither of us won, but it was still like a very weird experience. And now I can't talk to the man. It's a real shame because like he is a very intelligent person, and he was a very personable guy, and he was somebody who I really enjoyed talking with. And now it's like we can't see eye to eye. And Suzanne makes a good point. It's like kind of like being a fan of Adam Baldwin. Same thing. I had to unfollow him on Twitter because the things he was saying were just making me so angry.
I know what you can try to do, and it's hard, but you can appreciate their work and not their beliefs.
Yeah, but
I think
at the same
saying
time,
you like someone does not necessarily.
And I appreciate his works. Like Ender's Game is still one of my favorite books of all time. I will never ever buy another copy of it because I don't want to put more money in his hands. But for what it was almost as much of a formative book for me as a writer as Lord of the Rings was. And so meeting him was actually a big moment for me.
Yeah. Nice.
So it's a shame to see what happened later on in life. But that's how it goes sometimes. Like, I mean, I know they always say don't meet your heroes, but when it comes to
meet Peter Jackson because he's fabulous.
Oh, Peter Jackson's the best. Let's see. Temple is saying everybody's talking about when they started crying in Return of the King. Temple says, I cry when Éowyn talks with Theoden while he's dying on the battlefield. Hits something really personal. And I totally get that.
I even named, this is going to show my age too. I had a Palm Pilot.
Oh, that's going back.
Yeah. I named it Snowmane. And
wow. Nice.
And it did crash and die on me. Mm-hmm. So I guess that was
appropriate. Well, that was appropriate, yeah.
Which is why my car is not named it's Elf Above because it's green, which is from Wicked.
my car is named Brago. So very, very loyal steed.
There you go, yeah. Be careful what you name things, it might come back to you. I always called my phone Orthanc because it's got... Well, that's the shield logo.
Well, that's the shield logo, yeah.
I don't think they can see it.
You can't really see it from
here,
I have
the Orthanc on there.
Yeah, Orthanc is her background screen.
My save screen is shield. I'm a big geek. Any fandom you probably
yeah, I'm the same way. There are many fandoms that I'm a part of. I used to be a big anime fan, not so much anymore. I didn't go to Anime Expo this weekend. I think I went once, a number of years ago. And
there's too much going on this weekend.
Yeah, this was a big weekend. Mm-hmm. Like, there's...
4th of July.
4th of July.
Anime Expo, Labyrinth.
Fantasy Con, Labyrinth. Like, this was a big weekend, and I spent most of it at home dealing with a back injury.
Oh... I can't wait for August because then I'm gonna slow down a little bit.
I am so looking forward to that. This is the big time for the fan community, which is why we're doing Geek Culture Month now in July. Because basically we got a full month of just events happening all the time, and then culminating with Comic-Con in San Diego. And it's a wonderful time to be a geek. July is always a great time to be a geek.
Well, I feel like, the geeks have inherited the earth in the past 10 years or so.
Oh, absolutely. And Lord of the Rings, I think, played a really big part in that.
I do. And here's the thing about, Comic-Con's so crowded and stuff like that. And I kind of give the reason why it got so big is Lord of the Rings was part of that. I mean, they saw how many fans came out and, It just grew. I know there were other things because people argue with me.
Yeah,
there's Batman,
but I mean,
or Catwoman. I think it was.
Yeah,
Halle
Catwoman was
Berry
big there.
Down
yeah, but Lord of the Rings really embraced the Comic-Con atmosphere and the interaction with the fans,
but it woke the studios up, and they saw what potential. And now, in a way, I kind of like when I go down there, and I'm sorry if anybody was a fan of this show, but it was called The Secret Circle. It was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is this here? And because I was sitting in that panel because I was trying to see the one after it or something. Mm-hmm. But I mean, now I almost feel like that studios might be taking advantage of it or advantage of it too much.
Here's the thing with Comic-Con, and this is like my big criticism of it, is that it can't decide whether or not it's a fan convention or a trade show. And so as a result, it's trying to be both. And when you're trying to be both, you end up doing neither very well.
Mm. Yeah, it is both. I mean, I highly recommend anybody who has kind of like, I can't go to Comic-Con anymore. Go to WonderCon. That was a great con this year.
I love WonderCon.
Yeah, that was a really great con.
One of my favorites.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't as crowded, and Lord knows it'll probably get more crowded. But it was really nice. It was easy to get around the floor and get into panels. I mean, because of Comic-Con, I tend to still get to things early. Mm-hmm. But I mean, yeah, it was great. It was for me, that's close enough to drive. I could go home.
Yeah, and the thing with WonderCon is that it's still at that scale where you can just wander into a panel like in the middle of it and still get a good seat and just check stuff out, and decide whether or not you're even interested, and
then
wander out, and that. Like, you don't have that freedom at Comic-Con anymore.
No, you have to plan.
Yeah, you have to plan everything ahead.
Yeah, I think I'm going to pick one panel a day I'm going to try to get into, and that's it.
And that's the thing that I like about cons. Like, for me, conventions are about socializing and networking, because I work in the entertainment industry, so I try to network with other people in the industry as well. But it's mostly like it's a social atmosphere.
Yeah.
And Comic-Con is so big and so crazy that you really can't do that anymore.
No, you can't. Well, way back there used to be there might still be. I'm now a quote unquote trade professional. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if there's still there was always an entertainment industry lounge where we could go way back when. But I'm not sure they even have that anymore.
I think they still have a professional lounge, but it's not much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was always a great place to meet people. But again, the con was smaller back then, and I mean, I don't say, it should have stayed smaller, because I think, if people want to go, they should be able to go. And at this point, honestly, if you don't even have a badge, there's so much off-site stuff that doesn't even require badges, like even our luau.
Yeah.
We're having Lake Town Luau. Mm-hmm. And that's off-site. You don't have to have a badge.
Yep.
You can come and hang out with Tolkien friends. That's going to... Tolkien fans.
Tolkien
friends.
We're friends. We're all friends.
Right. And, and have a good time. I think the site's already up, but the tickets are already on sale.
Yeah, tickets are on sale. It's $40, which I know seems a little steep, but we got to pay for this somehow. So
yeah, and so that's Friday night. And then there's just tons of other little things, just all downtown San Diego. I think they live for this.
Oh yeah,
this weekend.
There's this, and there's like maybe one or two other big events in downtown San Diego that is like fueling their economy pretty much.
Yeah. Which is why I think they were very panicked when they were going to move it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. Like, if it does get any bigger, they still might. But I think they're expanding the convention center now, too. I think I've seen that in the works, or it's been approved. Mm-hmm. So they're going to make it even bigger.
Yeah. So Suzanne is asking, how many people are going to Comic-Con? I don't know if she means in this room or in general.
Why isn't there a TornCon? I like that question.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, that was kind of what Orc was.
Well, that's what the One Ring celebration was, and it lasted a few years.
Yeah.
We had Orc out on the West Coast, and then we had Elf on the East Coast, which lasted a couple of years.
It's just hard to sustain them.
It is, and it was hard to sustain them in the intervening years because we didn't start them until after Return of the King had ended.
Yeah, and then once the actors start doing their own other projects and stuff, it's harder to book them, and especially for like with the creation, they really drive on getting the celebrities there, the actors there, and sell photo ops.
I remember like we were trying to come up with like a track programming, and the creation people had no idea what we were talking about because creation conventions are all about the celebrity appearances.
Yeah. And
so it was this weird like obstacle.
Yeah, because we had We had a booth. It was 3 years. We did. TF had a table at 2 of them, and then the last year we actually did our little hospitality suite.
Yep.
Our Middle Earth retreat, and that was a lot of fun. That's why I say, I think we should do it again. But
I would love to do it again, and I guess Fantasy Con is kind of like that because it had a very big Torn presence.
Okay. And
apparently, like everybody from Torn who was there were treated as much of a celebrity as the people from the movies were. That's how it seemed to me. Like, I could be wrong, but from what I was seeing on the Facebooks.
See, you a fan said he'd go to a Josh panel.
Oh, Simply Smaug. Oh, that's so sweet of you. And you're brand new to this show, and you would already go to a panel with me. Well, thank you so much. I'm probably likely going to be on the Torn panel at Comic-Con, so, if you're there, go, if you can get in.
You can get in.
Well, I mean, we're probably not allowed to announce the location or the time yet.
That wasn't up already?
I don't think so.
Okay. Oh, okay, maybe not.
But, regardless, we're going to be in a bigger room this year, so that's going to help a lot. I feel like I can say that much at least.
Yeah, I'm getting confused on what's been, just in my mind, what's been officially released.
Yeah.
They dole out this information slowly. They have a plan. I don't know what it is, but
there's a plan, and there's always the coordination with the studios and everything. Mm-hmm. So it's a weird dance we do. But again, that doesn't take away from the community, I don't think. Because at the end of the day, this is really all about just interacting with the fans and meeting other fans, because there is this common shared passion that we all have, and that's something that just sort of draws everybody together. And that's what I love about Tolkien fandom so much, is that yes, you do have a couple of the elitists out there, but for the most part, Tolkien fandom is very welcoming, and it's you've seen the movies but you haven't read the books? Well, then here, borrow my copy of the book. And we don't have a lot of that whole oh, you didn't read the books, well then you're not really a fan, or you didn't see the movies, you're not really a fan, you didn't like this character, you're not really a fan. It's it takes all kinds, really.
Well, the thing that scared me, because I'd been in fan clubs before, I'd been Star Trek fan club, but something about seeing these movies, it made me feel a certain way that I can't even explain.
Yeah.
The way that they touched me, it was really profound, and I never could explain it, and that's why I reach out to the other Tolkien fans, because they understand. Yeah. We don't even have to put it into words.
Yeah, we know this profound feeling that these movies and these books gave us.
Yes.
And I still remember after having read the books and seeing that very first trailer that they released online for the Lord of the Rings trilogy. This was the first look at footage from this movie that we had been hearing all about, and then seeing it, and I remember it starts off with all these interviews with Elijah Wood and with Peter Jackson and a couple other people talking about oh, this is such an amazing experience, and then after about a minute of that, the video just expands into this epic shot of the armies of Mordor marching over the hills, and I was my reaction to that, I cannot put into words, because it was this is what I was hoping it would be. And then seeing the movie, it was the same way. I'm I was nervous, is this going to be what I'm hoping it was going to be? And within 5 minutes, I was I was almost in tears, because I was this is exactly what I was hoping this would be.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I wasn't even a fan when I saw the movie, really. And then I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I remember thinking about the ring, and Frodo's carrying this weight, and it's around his neck, and it's touching his skin. I don't know why that really bugged me, but it felt like the weight of the story. It just pulled me in, and it caught me.
Yeah.
The ring caught me too. Mm-hmm. And I mean, all the better for it.
Yeah. And Suzanne points out the "You Shall Not Pass" scene, and yep, I remember that. That was in that very first trailer. In fact, I think it ends with Gandalf screaming "You shall not pass," which is an iconic scene, even in the books. It was this major scene, and seeing him scream "You shall not pass" that way, I was this is it. This is what I've been waiting for. So we're past an hour and a half now, so
Wow.
we should probably start to bring this to a close. This is what happens when we do these casual conversations like this. Like, I mean, I always try to keep it to a schedule, but you know what? Like, once the conversation gets going, like, there's really no stopping it. Last week, our Sherlock Holmes episode, I think, ran about 2.5 hours.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I haven't had enough sleep for that. So.
Yeah. You're exhausted. So we should start to bring this to a close. So this is going to be Geek Culture Month, all month long. Every Sunday next week, we're going to be talking about fan-made productions. I'm going to be talking with the creators of the Katniss Chronicles, which I've talked about before on the show. It's an unofficial fan-created audio drama based on The Hunger Games, and I'm a voice actor in it. My other semi-co-host Eve is a voice actor on it, and so we're going to be talking about that and about fan productions and the passion that goes into that, and that'll be next Sunday, and so just to recap, our book of the month is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. Highly recommend checking this out. You will not regret it.
Check out the audiobook.
Yeah. Simply Smile was asking, did you guys watch The Hunt for Gollum? I did, and I thought it was a very well done fan production. I
have not seen it.
It's a fan
on your recommendation. I will.
It was a fan made production about Gandalf and Aragorn hunting down Gollum in the years between when Gandalf finds out about the ring and they're trying to track down Gollum, and it's about like hunting him down and then losing him to Sauron.
Oh, okay.
And it was very well done. Like for a low budget fan production, I thought it was extraordinarily well done. So yeah, I would recommend. You can probably find it on YouTube. So that's it for this week. Anyone seen Born of Hope? I have not seen Born of Hope, but I have heard of it. I don't know why, I don't know where, I don't know how, but it sounds familiar.
It does sound familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, good times move fast. Someone says it's over already.
So Ava is saying she's listened to the Katniss Chronicles and it's really good. Well then, I hope you'll enjoy next week. Because they do a lot more than just the Katniss Chronicles. And so I will see you all next week. Thank you to Kristi for being on the show, and thank you for sharing all of your experiences with us, as much as we could get through in an hour and a half, which is surprisingly little.
Yeah, well, but, I think we covered a fair amount.
Yeah, we did. So until next week, never stop reading.
Bye.